Hi, I'm George with NS345, and we've come to the end of this mix. Today I'm going to do the final mix down. Before I do that, I want to talk about the mix output levels, where we started, where we finished, and I'm going to compare it to the original Ruff or the original mix without any plugins, just as I received it raw. I'm going to do an A-B comparison so you can see how it started and how we finished. I did do some minor tweaks offline just to make sure the kick was coming through a bit better, the guitars were coming through a little bit better. And I'll touch briefly on that, but I really want to move on to look at the levels that we have for this mix. First, the one change I did do on the kick trigger, I added a limiter, and all it's doing is boosting a little bit of the gain and increasing the way in which the kick cuts through, so you're able to hear it through the entire mix. So it's a bit of limiting compression type stuff, so check it out in the mix. Okay, so you could hear it there, bypassed, engaged, all right. I also added a limiter on the snare, did the same thing, a little bit of compression limiting. So the snare is cutting through there. It's okay to use limiters. I don't see why you can't use them, provided you're not crushing the hell out of your mix. Here's another one with a bit more compression on it, and I also used it on the guitars a little bit just to make the guitar sound a bit cleaner, and they cut through the mix a little bit better. Okay, that sounds good. And I also threw it on the vocal. And this is why I like having my stems here. That gives me that last option. One of the reasons why I like to add limiters individually is because I now have control of each element of the mix. If I put it just on the mix bus, I can crush the entire mix and the mix can sound horrible. So you can clearly, let me just go to a part here where you can hear the vocal. And I love this plugin because without adding too much gain, it just added like 1 or 2 dBs of gain, and it sounds like a lot louder because of the saturation feature it has here, the XL feature, which is really nice. Okay, moving on. And I did add on the bass as well, and that one's doing minimal work. Okay, so the proof is in the pudding, right? So here we go. I want to test now the levels of my mix, and if you notice here, I did lower the master down because I wanted it to be right at -18, and that's okay because that's my final output level. The mastering guy is going to raise it anyways. I'm probably going to be the mastering guy, right? And this is the overall mix level. So I've got a pretty good level. Remember when we started, go back to the first video and check it out. I said my output level was going to be -18 dBFS equals 0 VU, and that's exactly where I'm at. But that doesn't mean anything if your song is squashed. So let's look at another plugin that Ian Shepherd developed called Dynameter. And basically the purpose of this dynameter is to allow you to focus on dynamics rather than loudness, okay? The dynameter allows you to focus on dynamics rather than loudness, meaning your song is crushed or it's not crushed, it's got nice healthy dynamics, nice healthy transients, and this is what this plugin is gonna help me to see or to hear. Okay, so I'm gonna reset it, and I already have my preset here, limited, and I'm using the YouTube platform. Now don't worry about these just now. I'm just gonna show you what these numbers mean. I'm looking for 2 numbers. Number 1, my PSR, and my PLR, which is down here. Basically, the PSR is like if you use the TT meter, it's giving you a DR number, a dynamic range number. The PLR is going to give you your peak to loudness ratio, which is your overall, dynamics of the song. So that's going to tell us what the average or the overall dynamics of the song, whether the song is dynamic or not. So what I'm shooting for is a low PSR to a target of 8 and a higher PSR to a target of about 12, 14. Okay, this is just for my own use. I'm not trying to use the platform preset. That's just there. But what I'm trying to do is make sure my song is dynamic, meaning it's not super compressed, overly compressed. Here we go. I'm going to reset it and I'm going to play it from the beginning.
Senhor que é o tal de Aníbal. Chama-se Basta Pista! Tenho uma arma carregada que só dispara poesia, minha fiel aliada. Basta Pista!
All right, great. If you notice, the BX meter was averaging about 18, so the RMS was about 18. On the dynameter, I have a PSR or dynamic range of about 9. And actually right at the beginning, I had a bit of red here and it got down to 5 and I reset it just to see more or less what the dynamic range is. And this is a pretty healthy dynamic range, especially for a song of this nature, right? So overall, what you want to look at on this meter is a simple telltale is the color. You see a lot of green and a lot of blue. That means that there's lots of dynamics. When you start to see red, like it is here, that's when the song is really crushed. So I'm really happy with the levels. The VU meter is hovering right around 0. 0 VU equals minus 18 dBFS. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to doing an A-B between the original Ruff or the mix without any plugins and my last mix, which is here. So I'm just gonna bring my VU meter out just so that we can have a quick listen.
Senhor que é o tal de Aníbal.
Okay, that's my mix, and this is my original mix.
Senhor que é o tal.
Okay, and notice the needle is right around 0 VU, just a little bit over because it doesn't have a lot of compression or limiting, but it's about the same level. So I'm gonna go between my final mix and the original mix. Here we go, an A and B.
Tenho uma arma carregada que só dispara poesia, minha fiel aliada no combate do dia a dia. Basta to the war, Senhor.
Okay, so now I'm bringing in the Sepultura reference track, and they're all about the same level. So I'm gonna go between A, B, and C.
Aliada no combate do dia a dia. Milenário da miséria, ignorância, demente da inteligência, a garrafa incendiária vai rebentar. Force control behind the pista, past the pista.
All right, I think that's a good A, B, and C. You've got to give me some credit for this. I mean, the recording was not bad at all. It was really good. It was live. There was a lot of noise. There was a lot of ambience noise, and you can hear it now. It's come alive. It sounds really good. There's a lot of depth, a lot of processing, and I think we've done a good job, really. I mean, do you agree? What do you think? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to post the links to, I'm actually going to give you a copy of the original mix and my final mix so that you can hear it for yourself. I think it sounds pretty good, and I'm hoping to get into mastering next. I do want to get started on another mix series real soon. I'm probably going to put off the mastering, but if I have time to do both, I'm going to do that. But there are some subtle differences between my mix and the Sepultura mix. Basically, it's EQ, and that's probably about it. So mastering is not going to do much more than add levels and fix some EQ. But anyways, thanks, man. I'm so excited to be at this point finally. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to print the mix, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And remember to please subscribe, like, and share so that people can get to know me, get to know my stuff, and I could share more stuff with them. And I also want to learn from you guys. But tell me what you think, what your final thoughts are after you get a listen to the mix. Let me know if you think I did a good job or if I did a bad job and what I can improve on. All right? So I'm going to mix it down now. Here we go. And I think it is, there we go, export mix down. I'm gonna make sure, I'm just gonna do an MP3, and I'm gonna do a sample rate of 44 because that's where the original song, the session is in. And it's gonna export between the start and end markers. Here's my start, and here's my end. And I'm just gonna say close after export, and I'm gonna import to a track.